Hello everyone, I'm happy to announce a new initiative by HRKatha, Happiness at Work, powered by happiness.me. Happiness at Work is a video knowledge series where we plan to trace the different facets of employee happiness. Our objective will be to find out the business outcomes of employee happiness. Today, for the inaugural episode, we have a special guest, Indrajit Sengupta, who is the CHRO of Coca Cola India. We thought of speaking to a brand which itself stands for happiness. Indrajit will talk about what makes employees of Coca Cola India happy. Indrajit, welcome to Happiness at Work.
Good to see you, Prajjal, again.
Good.
Okay, so I'll shoot, my first question. How do you define employee happiness? For different people, happiness will have a very different context. How does one bring in that oneness and have a uniform happiness agenda?
Thank you for the question. Let me make an attempt to answer it in a way from how Coca-Cola would see it in the first place. We are always known to be a brand that brings a lot of happiness to everyone's lives. And I think we truly live it every single day. And happiness is an outcome of many of the things that we do. And the fundamental thing to that for a company which is 134-year-old in terms of legacy, and for us in Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages, which is one of the largest FMCG companies in India by itself. Happiness is very important because we serve consumers, we serve our communities in different ways. We also have our employees as a very, very important part of who we become. And the single line that defines all of us in a common way is the purpose of the company, which is refreshing the world and making a difference. And it is very aspirational, very powerful. And that's the best way which we can define is the cause of happiness. It drives and motivates everyone. It brings us to a common way in which we do things. It is a common way in which we can reach out and help each other and make an impact to each other as well as to the community around us. And that is how I think defines the starting point of happiness for us.
When a brand like Coca Cola, you know, stands or denotes happiness, it is evident that the brand will also spread happiness among its employees and associates. How does Coca Cola ensure its own people are happy?
So I think there's a lot of things that we want to do and we continue to do. And maybe I'll just step back a little bit because the COVID situation is an ongoing thing for us right now. So there are a lot of recent memories to also talk about. When the COVID scenario started,
Yeah.
the first thing that the company decided was not to cut jobs, was not to stop salaries, to pay the bonus that was applicable to employees for 2019, when at a time when there were many companies talking about stopping these things, and a lot of employees in the market lost jobs. We never did anything like that because that is not the starting point to how we see the way to treat an employee. So coming back to your question, how does happiness get defined and get delivered within Coca-Cola and Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages? I think the first starting point is treating everyone with dignity and respect, treating everyone for who they are, for the differences and the perspectives that they bring every single day, making sure that we have psychological safety for employees. And all the things that I spoke about are actually parts of how you've created psychological safety. We have continued to see many, many more things. So we have continued to focus on careers. We have continued to focus on talent development. There has been 60,000 plus hours of digital learning that we have implemented because we believe that developing our associates should be a priority. And so, that has been one of the most fundamental things about bringing happiness to employees. And it has resulted, all those things that I'm describing to you, it has resulted in over 90% engagement score for the company. And we have consistently been a very high scoring employee engagement that we've had over many, many years. And I think it's the result of all these activities that we keep doing, and many, many more things that we will continue to do in the future.
Can we say that, happiness is all about fulfilling the basics, or it depends on the icing and the frills, or is it a mix of both? What do you think?
I think today it is more complicated than that. So it is true that we have to continue to do the basics of purpose, values, and ethics. There is no going back away from that. So, as I described to you, the purpose of refreshing the world and making a difference is the basic binding factor that defines who we are, and that's the way we approach every single stakeholder that we interact with, whether it's a consumer, whether it's a customer who's buying, like a distributor, for example, whether it is our own employee, whether it is individuals in the community. They are all part of that purpose. The next thing that I would say is the it results in certain behaviors. So you will always find this company perennially curious about everything new. You will always have a question around, there is nothing called status quo. You'll always have, how do I challenge status quo for good reasons? We are always looking for progress. There is nothing called this is final. We are always trying to be as inclusive of everyone as we can be, because India is diverse and India is so inclusive. The way we believe inclusion is how can I replicate India inside Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages? Okay? That's inclusivity, and you can imagine how aspirational that it is for all of us. And these are the leadership behaviors that we believe come out from the purpose and the value system that we have. And then you continue to keep looking at customizing the experience for all the employees. There may be generational differences, there are gender differences, there are regional differences, there are so many different types of individuals we bring together. The intersectionality of that is very important. So once you're done with the behaviors and the common purpose that you bind everyone together, then comes all the things that you can do adequately to address specific requirements for these individuals group. These could be around how our compensation structures are made. It is how the benefit programs work. It's about the kind of trainings that you would impart to these groups. They all get customized for the different groups. So I'm kind of answering your question both ways, saying basics are as important as I wouldn't say frills, but they are top ups that you would continue to give to different individuals and groups that you have in the company.
Many people loosely say or even believe that happiness is all about fun at work, having an uber cool culture, say fancy offices, festivals, celebrations, etc. Would you agree to this?
So happiness is about many things, and it is very defined by each individual. I think what is important is going back to the same things around what is the purpose, what is the value system, what kind of leadership behaviors that you would like to bring together. And of course, when you do these things right, when you're focused on the consumer, there is a lot of fun at work. So whatever you execute as a result of that should be fun. Uh, you know, the fancy office concept is probably gone today because so many people
Because
are
after
working from
the
home.
the COVID
But at the
situation.
same time, taking care of safety of an employee, whether they are in office or a plant or in the market or at home, that remains the same. We still continue to look after safety of our employees. Okay. You could say, well, it's a serious thing. I also think that safety is a very important thing, and safety is fun, because if you can ensure everyone is safe, you don't have to worry about anything. It gives so much of comfort that you can do your job well. Similarly, if you looked at the kind of assistance that we have started giving from our work from home policy, uh, we are allowing employees to buy an ergonomic chair, because we believe that you just about any chair is not good. It has to be a ergonomically defined chair. And the reason we are putting stress on that, because we want employees to have a great experience.
Okay.
So it is all about doing those small things, and very, very meticulously, so that you can actually have fun at work. And we do want to have fun at work today, irrespective of the place of work.
Okay. So how has things changed probably, after the COVID-19 situation? So has the parameters of happiness changed, or the way attempt to provide happiness to your employees has changed?
Of course, the way we find ways to make everyone happy, that has obviously changed. So if you look at it today, from a transition standpoint, the plants are working as they used to. uh, there are some changes obviously from protocols and safety and things like that, but by and large they're working the same way. Those who are going to sales are again, going to the market to do their job. Of course, they are maintaining probably more higher levels of safety and protocols, but they are back to work where they would. And there is the large other chunk of the employees who are or who were working from an office. Life for them has changed dramatically because they can now work from anywhere, and I think that's the single biggest element of happiness that I think we can bring to anybody's choice, because it's a choice. I mean, I have team members who are based in Sikkim.
Okay.
They're working from Sikkim, and it's good to see photographs of the Himalayas being shared by them in our WhatsApp group. It's a delight because I can make out that these individuals are really happy being where they want to be. And there are similarly, employees living in all other places. There are employees who are back to living with their parents, some of whom probably needed, medical attention or care and things like that, which being in two different places was becoming difficult. Today, some of those problems are getting resolved automatically because of doing these changes that we are making more rapidly. And I think, therefore, the method by which we bring happiness to employees has changed. And the engagement score is showing that we are a really strongly engaged team, which gives a lot of confidence that these things are working.
Okay, great. So it has actually worked out for the migrated, working population, those who have come in from different, cities or small towns to the metros, to work. And irrespective of, I'm not talking about the migrant laborers, but the migrant, white collar workers, actually.
That is correct, because I mean, the plants are located in a certain physical location. Same thing is with the markets.
Yeah.
So those are the restrictions that individuals have. However, it has not stopped people from changing roles from one plant to another plant, or from one selling location to another selling location. So those have also happened at the same time, and it's a very natural progression from a career standpoint for individuals. And I think, so when I look at it holistically, all these things that we are talking about is working for the whole company. It's not just defined for any one group, but the method by which you probably are communicating or executing it has probably changed because of the COVID scenario.
What is the importance of interpersonal relationship in a happy culture? It could be the relationship between the manager and the subordinate, or it could be the relationship between teammates.
It is very, very important. There is no doubt about it. The downside of dysfunctional relationships is really bad. The upside is really huge. And so, as a company, we obviously want to make sure that interpersonal situations work very well for us. As HR leaders, we are very focused on it. There is a lot of effort that is spent in how we train our line managers and employees across the company, whether it is through workshops, whether it is through training, whether it is through coaching. The methods can be different, but it is extremely, extremely important. And for every company, if they want to sustain, and if we continue to keep focusing on growth, there is no doubt that the personal relationships at every level have to work.
And how is the leadership trained, to maintain a happy culture? Do you think the leadership also needs some kind of guidance, training to maintain a happy culture in a workplace?
So, Prajjal, the way it would happen is it's a very natural progression for an employee to grow in the company.
Yeah.
We are very proud as Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages to say that we develop talent for the whole of the Coke system. Many of our employees have gone on and done very big roles, across the whole Coca Cola world, whether it is in India, whether it is outside India, whether it is in our headquarters. There are many examples of that. And therefore, one of the most important things is a very structured way in which we train line managers to come up, not only from the way you assess their performance. It is also about how do you identify potential. It's also about then taking that potential to the next level, providing the right interventions through either trainings, through coaching, through developmental assignments, through overseas assignments, and making sure that each one is able to fulfill their potential. And part of these steps that I'm talking about very strongly have a focus on how do you manage human relations at the workplace. And the company has also put in very strong processes and structures around, especially around how we conduct our business, how do we manage human rights at the workplace. Those are all the additional guardrails that are put around to make sure that we not only focus on developing talent, we also focus in nurturing relations at the workplace.
How do you differentiate happiness from engagement?
What you probably can control is engagement. To a large extent, you do not control happiness,
Okay.
and therefore, I think we sort of believe that all the actions that we take, and all the things that we drive as a commonality, as a Coca Cola community, would eventually lead towards happiness. But the best way that we can measure is to find a measure for our engagement, find a measure for business success, find a measure for achieving each other's potential, whether it is in career terms and so on. Those are the things that we control, and we believe that if we did those interventions right, they would make individuals happy. But that is not something that we control. So I'm making that distinction very clearly in only one way: is which one do you control and which one we don't. So we do have a strong role to play in ensuring strong engagement, but we really don't control happiness.
Many companies, or there would be many people, who get confused with engaged workforce and a happy workforce. Is there a misconception around in the industry? I'm not talking about, I'm talking in general.
um, a Prajjal, difficult question to answer from the point of view of each company's philosophy, and that can vary. I think what is more appropriate is to look at uh, an employee experience more than engagement, because I think an experience is something that you feel every moment. Okay, and these moments are very important.
Yeah.
It is how an individual gets treated. So I think more important than engagement and more important than happiness is, are we giving a positive experience to an employee every day? And if we are focused on that, and if we are able to do that, then I think most of these questions that we have about a debate on which one is more important automatically gets addressed. So let me just take an example. If a new joinee came on board,
Yeah.
you had the place ready, a laptop ready, the email up and running. You have a line manager who welcomes this individual. You have a team that welcomes the individual. You have a buddy who helps in onboarding the individual. Is a great experience for an employee. If we did that right, I'm 100% sure the individual will be very happy. And just imagine that some of these things, if they were not done well, uh, you'll automatically not get a happy employee in the end. So essentially, what we are talking about is moment to moment experience. And today, if all of us can focus on that and do that, then I think that solves the question forever.
So you have to start from day one, and every moment matters.
You should actually start from the time that the individual has applied for a job.
Okay.
And
That
I think
experience starts from there.
the experience starts from there, because the individual has many roles to play in the process. Assuming that the individual did not get selected, the individual can still come back and apply for another job in future. If that individual did not get a great experience, will never apply to your company again. If we are not keeping in touch with the individual on a regular basis, irrespective of the fact that they have not been hired, that individual is not going to go and talk to 10 more people that, hey, you know what, Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages is a great company. Okay, So I may not hire one person, but I might get 10 more referrals because of that individual, and that matters to me. So therefore, the importance of the experience starting from when they applied rather than saying when they joined the company.
Okay. What is the final yield of an happy workforce? Is it productivity, or is it retention, or is it ownership of the brand that you see among employees?
All of them matter. All
Okay.
of them matter. And I think the reason I said so, let me start with the ownership and empowerment. That's one of the fundamental behaviors that we respect in this company. And if you go down to the last salesperson in the company, you know that the individual feels like an owner in the company because they decide what is to be done every single day in their territory. There is a supervisor and the hierarchy there, but the individual is the one who's deciding because they maintain the relationship with the customer. So empowerment is very important. That is how we are able to build this ownership, not just about the brand, it's also about the company, because the company is going to live long after everyone retires from the company. So that's very, very important. The second one we spoke about is, um, you know, the whole piece around inclusivity. If we don't make everyone feel included, then engagement is not going to happen. Our ability to deliver results will not happen. If there is a problem in one part of the country, others will not want to chip in because there is no stake for them. So, therefore, inclusivity becomes very important. Every single day, trying to make progress is very important because we are not so defined about this is the final outcome. Making progress is very, very important because, as we all describe, that for us in Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages, there are 477 servings per second. I don't want to lose even one serving. Okay.
Okay.
And therefore, making sure that I make progress every single second is very, very crucial. So I guess, all of these behaviors actually make it more important. If I have those behaviors right, it helps me do my job well. I know what I have to achieve, and then it results in everything that you see, whether it is financial for the company, it is more efficient workforce for the company. uh, can individuals grow in their careers as a result of becoming better in the skills that they develop? Absolutely. And I think all these things make a big difference, and that is why there is so much of focus on how you do the job, and therefore the focus on behavior being as important as the results that we eventually measure all our employees with.
Okay. Coca Cola is a global company, you know, and Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages is based out of India. How do you think, Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages is different from the parent Coca Cola company, in terms of culture? Because ultimately, we Indians, we follow a very different culture. How do you think the Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages is different from the parent Coca Cola company?
I wouldn't say different. I will say that what are the things that get added up
Okay.
because of the legacy of Coca-Cola, as well as the soul of India, and these two things come together very well. So I described to you the purpose of the company. That's common, and as the largest owned bottling operations for Coca-Cola globally,
Yeah.
we are very, very proud. India is a very, very important market for Coca-Cola globally. We know that we have a big role to play in that. Therefore, the India business has a big contribution to make to Coca-Cola globally. So I think that's a proud moment for every one of us as Indians in terms of what we contribute towards not just Coca Cola globally, also towards the rest of our communities. We are creating jobs in India. Uh, we are creating more opportunities with our farmers because we buy mangoes, we buy oranges. There are so many different fruits that we buy. There's a lot of agricultural products that we buy. So there is a strong relationship with farmers that we have in India. Similarly, we have a strong relationship with consumers, and that is why the brand is so strong because the consumers want Coca Cola. And therefore, I'll say that the best of both is what comes together within Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages is one, the purpose of the company, but followed by the fact that the Indian ethos and the legacy that we have as well as the value system of Indians is also catered to and brought in here. So we are very, very proud about getting the best of both India and Coca Cola together.
What is so specific about Coca Cola as a company? You know, you have worked with several other companies. You know, what is that you when you joined Coca Cola? What is that you found very unique to this company? You know.
There are lots of very unique things that I have personally experienced here. The first one is a very entrepreneurial spirit in the company. And let me describe what it means. There is an enormous amount of curiosity about everything.
Okay.
And it doesn't limit me to just looking at HR from my role point of view. I have a strong role to play with the rest of the business. It's not just facilitating, but it is also learning what is happening in the marketplace. And that means when I'm visiting plants and factories, whether I'm visiting the market, the interactions that I have is extremely, extremely uh, very well cherished as an experience for me, because there is so much that I can learn in this company, and the opportunities to learn are simply unlimited. There is nobody who's defining saying you can only do this and you can't do this, you can learn this or you can't learn this. There are lots and lots of great ideas that we nurture. Many of those, will probably fructify into a result after some time, but you continue to give it a lot of effort and support. I'll give you an example of that. Um, we introduced an AI chatbot as a way to become much better at predicting how employees were feeling at the workplace.
Okay.
And we were among the first companies going with a product on AI where everyone is still doing surveys. You do a survey twice in a year, thrice in a year, any number of times, but surveys are a point in time. Whereas a interaction with an artificial chatbot gives you more real time insights on how people are feeling. The question, of course, was, hey, how is a human being going to interact with a chatbot? Is it going to be good, bad? You don't know when you're about to launch a product. You have some faith, you have some belief, some things will work, you'll not have some things, some things won't work, all of those things. I never found the company trying to stop an experiment or a pilot.
Okay.
Nobody said, but if this does not work, what will happen? We will lose some money. What will happen? Nobody asked those questions. And we used it. We learned a lot out of it. It's probably today one of the best things that we have been able to do, where a lot of the engagement work, which was being done by line managers and HRs in the past, is getting sharper and sharper, and you're able to push decision making to the lowest levels, which we could not do earlier. So just imagine the kind of a change it has brought about. But it was brought about not because of an idea that I brought to the table or my team made it work. It is because the company has a culture of nurturing this as a behavior. Similarly, you will find a lot of uh, a strong liking for you and a strong liking to help you. There is a certain way that you'll always find employees reaching out to help you at any given point in time. So in many companies you will say, hey, I have a problem, but how will I solve the problem? Because my team is limited to so many people. In Hindustan Coca Cola Beverages, I just think that I have unlimited resources to do my job in my mind, because I just think I can reach out to anybody and I know that people will come and help me. And I think that gives a tremendous sense of comfort that I can take on any kind of a challenge. And as long as the purpose is right, I know that I will get all the help that I need. Similarly, I think the way I have found the company treating employees with dignity and respect is incredible. There are times when I have gone through personal difficulties where family members were not well. I have found the company bending its back to give me the time that I needed to be with them, and that's a huge amount of solace and comfort, and that's the way you treat a person for what their personal situations could be, and that can happen to anyone, and that's a big sense of comfort that I have. And last but not the least, I think uh, the one thing that I always find extremely important to me personally is the ethics and value system. And I know that I can go home and sleep very peacefully because of the strength of the value system of the company.
Okay. Yes, you had mentioned about that personal experience where you were going through a personal emergency and the company stood by you. I think for couple of months where you could not get back to office and you had to stay back in Calcutta. You know, can you share that experience with us? How did your perception around Coca Cola change because of that support or that experience that you had?
So I mean, my father-in-law was suffering. Okay, and he, of course, there is age-related, comorbidities that he's suffering from. He had also suffered from cancer, and he had got treated for it before. But he has been, he was undergoing a lot of challenges and problems for a long time. Okay, and it was not an unknown fact. I had made it known to my line managers. They were aware of it. They were very sensitive towards it. And while I continue to do my work, at multiple points in time, I have had my line managers just call me in and say, hey, this is not about a discussion on any subject. I just want to know how things are going. Okay, how things are going with you. How are you holding up? Is everything okay? Is your wife doing okay? And then during the time of COVID, his situation actually worsened. He passed away. And during that time, there were multiple times that I've traveled to Calcutta, one to be with him. Then, at a time when we had to perform his last rites, there was never anything that I found that the company was stopping me from anything. Where I would probably say, look, I'm just taking a couple of days break. This is what I need. My line managers would actually say, you don't have to describe anything. Just go, take the time, do whatever is necessary. Don't worry about the work. We will take care of the work. And I think that gives you a tremendous sense of comfort, a tremendous sense of satisfaction, that you have a lot of people around you that you can depend on. uh, they are the pillars around you who can support you during the most difficult time of your life. And irrespective of the fact that I lost my father-in-law, the fact is that, as a company, the company stood by me, and I think that makes me feel very, very important. And I do the same thing with my colleagues when I know that they are going through the same situation, and I think that's a incredible strength of the culture of this company.
How important is those pulse based surveys that we do once in a year or twice in a year? Tell me something because what I have always believed or I think is, yesterday I had a bad day and today I'm asked to fill up a questionnaire saying whether I'm happy with the company. Obviously there will be swing towards you know a negative way, or I had a good day, I will have to I will probably be very positive with my answers. Do you think that gives a very real picture, or it, like what you said, you have an app now which actually measures the mood of your employees day in day out and every moment, so the entire journey has to be happy rather than certain points or certain junctures people are happy or sad.
Yes. So, surveys will continue for some more time. I don't think they're going away. Okay. However, the problem with surveys is that they're held after a fairly, uh, you know, it's the time difference between two surveys is long in the way. Even if you said, okay, if it is 6 months, 6 months is still a long time for an employee.
Yeah.
But between the day the individual took it and the next one, what is more important is what happened between the time. Did the individual get to know what was the feedback overall? Did we articulate what we were going to do with the feedback that the person gave? Those are more and more important. And I think, let me bring you to the other extreme, that if you were to go to, let's say, airports today, or you go to a mall today, or you go to any large store, oftentimes when you come out of the store, you will find a quick touch screen, and it says, tell me, did you had a great experience or not? Right. And I think it's the same thing that should also happen at workplaces. Every single moment at different points in time, whether it is after doing an assignment, after having a performance discussion, after having a career discussion with your line manager. Those are all the moments when you have an opportunity to give feedback to each other. There is no other way of being able to capture it if we continue to be with a survey. So the purpose of a survey, like I said, the surveys will remain, but the surveys will serve a certain purpose. It kind of tells you over a period of time how things are improving, but it probably is not the right one. Getting to the chatbots and the artificial intelligence tools that are now coming in, those are more handy because they actually give you a full-fledged view of the whole company, and they give you on a daily basis the mood of the employees in the company. What it also helps you do is, as a result, you can distill and say that the experience of different employees are different, and in order to give everybody a great experience, there are different things that you will have to do at different parts of the business for different levels in the company and so on, something that a survey cannot do. And most importantly, it also helps drive decision making lower. So if I knew that the problem is of one type and it is only in one location, you don't have to do anything for the whole company, or just do like a large program. And oftentimes that has been the problem with us, that we found a problem, we didn't realize where the problem is. So what do? We do it for the whole company. That doesn't help.
Which becomes ineffective actually, or it might backfire as well
Yeah.
sometimes.
So you're bombarding people with so much of information that they don't need. I would rather focus it to what the issue is, who is it impacting, and who should actually solve the problem. I think the other problem has been, if you get the whole company working behind it, it doesn't work. Maybe it is just a line manager and an employee issue. Maybe it is a benefits related issue. Maybe it is a compensation related issue. So you have to break that down to what is the issue, what is the challenge, what are you trying to solve, and who are you trying to solve for. And I think that is where I keep talking about the employee experience, because I think that is the most important one that eventually we will go to. We will not be able to do with any number of HR persons being deployed. Uh, but a artificial intelligence tool can do an outstanding job because they get you the insights right, and then it helps the HR teams to really narrow down what those insights are and be very, very sharp in decision making, which a pulse survey or any other survey is not going to be able to do to that extent.
So is technology aiding, in maintaining
Absolutely.
a happy work culture
Absolutely.
better? Has
Absolutely. Partnering with technology is probably the most important things for us in human resources in the future.
Okay, that was great, Indrajit. So today we had Indrajit, talking about employee happiness and the work culture at Coca Cola. And I hope, Indrajit, you enjoyed this session with us. Great having you on the show.
Thank you, Prajjal. Pleasure talking to you. Bye.
Welcome.